Hey guys, we have people in the waiting room, but I'm just gonna keep them there for a second.
Is Jim on yet?
Jim is loading. There he is. I need to close out of my like 1,000 browsers before I share my screen.
Down to the wire.
The freaking wire, Corey. We have four people in the waiting room. Give them just a second. I want to make sure I can share my screen without it showing everything. Okay. Okay. Can you guys see that okay? Cool.
Yeah.
When I press slideshow, it should just show that.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Are you guys ready for me to let people in?
Sure.
Okay, cool. For it.
Do you want to make me a co-host so I can help manage that?
How do I? Okay, yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna do that first. I'm gonna let Chris in. Think I know how more. I can only make you host. Is that okay?
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I don't need all that power, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Usually on the participant list, you can just click the three dots or something.
Okay.
Got it. It worked.
Okay, cool.
Do we
That
want
one.
to let people?
Yeah, feel free to let people in. I'll go on camera. Yuck.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We'll get started in just a couple minutes here. And I'll just note that this meeting is being recorded. So just bear that in mind. It is so that I can send the recording afterward in case people want to refer to it after. And Corey, I may have lost my ability to share screen. If you could approve the request.
Got it.
Thank you. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Before we kick off, we hope that you guys have lots of questions. I'd say just in the interest of time to make sure we get through all of the material, if you could either add your questions to the chat, or hold them, write them down somewhere, um, for us to then address them at the very end, that would be amazing. But we want to make sure that we have time to answer all of your questions. All right. So thank you so much for coming and welcome to our Integrated Resource Planning or IRP 101 session. Really appreciate you guys stopping in for lunchtime and a nice little lunch and learn. So just to quickly introduce us, my name is Courtney McDonald. I am the Coalition Coordinator for West Virginians for Energy Freedom. And the coalition, which a lot of you I know are members of, is really a mix of your neighbors and small businesses, and folks across the state that are concerned with energy issues and are looking for more equitable and diversified solutions and lower energy bills, quite frankly. One second. I seem to have lost my browser. Okay. Sorry about that. My browser went away. Okay.
Hey, if you want, I can pull the slideshow up and then advance it for
Yeah,
you.
maybe Corey. It keeps like the faces keep kind of like overriding it. Okay, thank you. And actually, you can go to the next slide. Perfect. So in terms of what we're going to cover today, we're going to go over what an IRP is. I know that's like kind of a strange concept to a lot of people. Unless you're sitting in the energy space, you might not necessarily know what it is and why it matters. So we're going to go through why it does matter and why you should be engaged in it, what's being proposed in the first energy IRP currently, some of the benefits that you can see in a diverse energy mix within a state, the timelines for the IRP, and then, of course, importantly, what you can do to get involved. And with that, I am going to pass it to Jim.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jim Coatson. I'm with the West Virginia chapter of Sierra Club. I have been involved with Public Service Commission issues, utility rate cases, and especially the integrated resource plan process for over 10 years. Um, an integrated resource plan is really just that. It's a plan by which a utility will describe what are their expected consumer demands, what are the potential generation resources that are available to meet those demands, and how do they put those together. So as an example, Governor Pritzker in Illinois has adopted this Clean and Reliable Grid Affordability Act. We would like to see something similar to that here in West Virginia. All right, where did DuckDuckGo come from? We seem
Yeah,
to have lost
Corey, we're
our.
seeing your web browser instead of the slides, Corey. You
We've
may
lost
already know
our
that.
slides. Where did the slideshow go? May want to stop sharing, and here we go. Yes, so under West Virginia state law, a integrated resource plan is supposed to be in the public interest and consistent with various federal, state, energy, and environmental policies. That means public interest is defined as considering the cost, the risk or reliability of the electric generation system, and any uncertainties. Now, it turns out that predicting electricity demand years into the future tends to be complicated, and we're seeing a lot of that these days, especially as data centers and other electric users increase demand. A good example of that is early last year, the legislature adopted House Bill 2014, which is better known as a data center and microgrid bill, but it included a provision that requires utilities to submit a supplement to their integrated resource plan and gives the Public Service Commission authority to review and amend or approve that plan. So this actually is one of the areas that strengthens the integrated resource planning process, and it gives us as citizens an opportunity to have more input into what those plans might be. Next slide, please. So who is it that has to actually do this? Well, the state code requires that every electric utility must file an integrated resource plan every 5 years. In West Virginia, that includes the so-called investor-owned utilities. In the northern and eastern part of the state, that covers First Energy, Mon Power, and Potomac Edison. In the southern part of the state, that's Appalachian Power. And around Wheeling Power covers a couple of counties in that area. There's also a Harrison Rural Electric Cooperative that serves customers in Harrison County. They don't actually have generation of their own, but they do actually maintain distribution networks and so on. And so they're also required to file an integrated resource plan. Next. So what are some of the things that you might want to watch for? I should add a deadline. The utilities filed those plans late last fall, and the Public Service Commission has scheduled comments, review, and other proceedings on those over the next few months. So we'll be working on those at least through spring and early summer. A key issue for an integrated resource plan: what does the utility going to spend their money on? If you really want to know what's important, just follow the money. And several utilities are proposing major increases in spending over the next few years. Another key goal is the programs that actually help ratepayers. These include things like ratepayer assistance programs, the low-income home energy assistance program, for instance. It can also include things that promote energy efficiency. A third component are any programs that address reliability and accountability. It turns out West Virginia has some of the least reliable electric service of any state in the nation. And clearly improving electric service, doing things that help reduce outages would be very important for our consumers. So next slide. So what is being proposed? I live in Morgantown, and Mon Power, Potomac Edison, subsidiaries of First Energy, are proposing to construct a 1,200 megawatt natural gas-fired power plant. If approved, that would go online in 2031. The current estimate of the cost is $2.5 billion. That's billion with a B. That works out to be something in the neighborhood of $4,000 or $5,000 for every customer in that territory. First Energy's own predictions of electricity demand suggest that only a small portion of that capacity is likely to be needed in the near future. A shortfall of only about 200 megawatts tops compared to the 1,200 megawatt power plant. So that is a very large overkill for a fairly small need. And it is suspected that First Energy wants to build this very costly new power plant to serve new data centers, most of which are not in West Virginia. So that is a major concern of ours. Next slide. Although First Energy does project a need for about 200 megawatts of new generation, they are not proposing any programs to provide for energy efficiency or reduce customer demand or customer bills. Nor are they proposing any new programs to address the reliability of the grid. Now, as a customer of First Energy, I can go to First Energy's webpage and they'll talk about all of their energy efficiency programs, and they'll say, enter your zip code here to see what's available for you. And I enter my zip code for Morgantown, and the page opens up, says, we have no programs in this area. Potomac Edison conserves both Maryland and the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. Maryland customers have all kinds of energy efficiency programs. West Virginia customers do not. In addition, First Energy ignores a lot of customer-owned power. So I have a few solar panels on my house, a 5 kilovolt system. First Energy basically ignores any of the opportunities for residents or small businesses to generate their own power, to install batteries, or to use any of that type of a distributed generation network. They are wholly reliant on large baseload power plants. Next. And I think this is where somebody else comes in.
Yep, I'm happy to jump in. Thanks, Jim. Hey everyone, just real quick, my name is Leah Turgeon. I work with Solar United Neighbors here in West Virginia alongside Corey. We're a part of the West Virginians for Energy Freedom Coalition with Jim and Courtney and some other folks. So great to be here with you this afternoon. I'm just going to chat a little bit about affordability here in West Virginia, although I think it's a shared experience if you live here. So yeah, I mean, I think in addition to the reliability concerns that Jim was talking about, we have a really high number of brownouts here in the state. But also in addition to that, we have a really high energy burden rate as well. In fact, the percentage of households' income that is used to pay its energy bills, including electric, gas, and any other heating fuels, is what contributes to what's called energy burden. And according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, we are number two. We have the second highest average energy burden in the United States. 31% of households in West Virginia have an unaffordable energy burden. And that's, considered to be more than 6% of your total household income. And, that's also in an environment where, we're seeing our electric rates just ever going up and up. As you can see here on this table, we were just kind of demonstrating the impact of rising electric rates here in West Virginia. And for over a 13-year period, our rates have gone up 59.8%, which is not nothing. It is definitely felt. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. Right here, as I mentioned, we're number two in the US. And so this is, our energy, just a graph of energy burden census tracts in West Virginia with respect to different utilities. So you can see what a chunk of electricity as a utility, how much it makes up regarding our own energy burden here in the state as retail electric customers. Okay, you can go ahead and advance to the next slide. Let's see here. So we another thing too, just kind of wanted to point out, that West Virginians do care about affordability, and we got curious about, what baseline perceptions were about, coal-fired generation or fossil fuel, source generation versus renewables in the state, and just we're curious about what the shared and general sentiment was among West Virginians. And so West Virginians for Energy Freedom contracted with a polling firm earlier this year to kind of gauge those perceptions. And energy actually rose as one of the top three issues alongside jobs and education. And two things that we found that were really interesting and notable is that, there's bipartisan agreement on this topic. 54% of Republicans, 71% of independents, and 84% of Democrats were all willing to switch to what's called community solar projects if it led to savings on their electricity bill. And 68% of voters in total said that they were unwilling to pay more for coal-powered electricity if it would be more expensive than renewables. And similarly, 67% of voters are unwilling to pay more for renewables if it's more expensive than coal. So really, the take-home message here is that folks aren't really necessarily, super concerned as a whole with where the energy comes from. Really, I think what folks are really leaning toward right now is, just what's cost effective, because there is definitely a felt sense of the impact. And just for folks who may not be familiar with what community solar is, we don't currently have it enabled as an option in our state right now. But essentially, it's when there's a solar project that's located within your electric service utility territory that you can subscribe to a portion of in order to insulate yourself from from a rising electric bill. Alrighty, so I think we can go on from there as well. And so with that, even though we talked about, our polling showing that not people didn't necessarily care about the source of generation. There are a lot of studies that are showing that the fastest and most cost-effective way to not only decarbonize our energy system, but also to clean it up is through renewable energy and also customer-owned distributed energy resources or customer-owned energy like solar and also like batteries. And when these resources are properly accounted for in resource planning, like integrated resource planning, we can achieve decreasing peak demand, improve resilience to our grid because we're distributing where these electrons are coming onto the grid, which helps to provide some resilience to the grid because they have to travel less of a distance. And we can more efficiently use existing infrastructure to meet growing local demand as customers electrify their appliances at homes and businesses. The benefits of these investments are most broadly shared when the resources are coordinated in what's called a distributed power plant. Some folks may be familiar with the term virtual power plant. Um, and we are going to just watch a quick video about what distributed power plants are. They could be a really great benefit to our grid here in West Virginia, should we be able to participate in them. So that video is on the next slide.
Let me know if you can hear it.
Solar United Neighbors. We help families go solar, save money, and take control of their energy. Have you noticed your electricity bill keeps going up? Well, it's not your fault. It's because our modern grid can't keep up with demand. Utilities keep building expensive power plants, companies keep building power-guzzling data centers, and you end up footing the bill. But there's a better way. Distributed power plants are the answer. A distributed power plant, also known as a virtual power plant, is like crowdsourced energy. It takes solar batteries, smart appliances, and other energy resources in people's homes and creates an on-demand community power network. Here's how it works. Your solar panels charge a battery during the day. In the evening, when the grid is under stress, you share a portion of that stored energy with the community. You always keep some backup energy, and you get paid for the power you share. And this isn't the future. DPPs are already happening across the country. From California to New England to Puerto Rico, homeowners are keeping their neighbors' lights on and getting paid to do it. But many places don't have programs yet. That's why Solar United Neighbors is fighting to make sure these programs are fair, accessible, and available to everyone. If you already have solar batteries or smart appliances, visit solarunitedneighbors.org/DPP to see if there's a program in your area, or email us to help bring one to your community. Join us and help build a better grid today. Solar United Neighbors. Go solar, join together, and fight for your energy rights.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to Emmett Pepper with Energy Efficient West Virginia to talk about the benefits of including energy efficiency programs in the IRP process.
Thank you, Leah. Can you all see and hear me? Okay, I don't see myself. Yeah, so most so some of our utilities in our state already have existing energy efficiency programs that the utility runs. And those are the Apple AEP subsidiaries. So excuse me, people who are in the Appalachian Power Service territory, as well as the Wheeling Power, so Ohio County, Marshall County. And so the way that works is it's a cost-effective program that helps folks who are looking to reduce their energy usage or their energy bills by reducing their usage. And then it also benefits all customers in that way. So unfortunately, Mon Power and Potomac Edison do not have such programs, and so through the integrated resource plan process, which is that's the integrated part of the resource plan, is that you're supposed to be looking at both what new power needs to be generated and what can customers do to reduce their power. So there was not much, or maybe nothing, in there from Mon Power and Potomac Edison about how they're going to implement energy efficiency programs to help their customers. So that's a really important thing that is missing for half the state. Take Charge WV, that's the website for Appalachian Power and Wheeling Power. That's where you want to go if you are one of those customers to find out what the most important thing is to get an energy assessment. There is a federally funded program that one of the few federally funded programs around these sorts of things that are still around. And that program is being administered by the Office of Energy. It is not entirely all low income, but it is kind of low middle income focused programs. And you should go to the website. You just, I mean, at this point, I don't think people use their URLs anymore. You just Google Home Energy Rebate Program, West Virginia Office of Energy, and it'll come up. And there are rebates available through that to help you start, saving on your energy bills. Obviously, the upfront costs are usually the toughest part for making changes like that, whether it's solar or energy efficiency. And this helps with some of that. And there are other ways you can do that. I think this one is back to you, Leah, or someone.
Sure, I can hop in on this one. Yeah, okay. So, the slide is mostly about just kind of like drilling down on the benefits of having a diverse energy mix. You can see from the graph that's shown here that, we're predominantly a coal-fired generation state. And we don't have a diverse energy mix. That's not a way to characterize the mix that we currently have. Our generation is approximately 86% coal, which is more than any other state, and only 7% renewable sources, which, means that the cost of coal has an outsized impact on our bills. And we really have, we can really feel that in the way that our prices go up and down over the years, and mostly up. Utilities that have higher rates of other source of energies like renewables, or say they have a distributed power plant program, as we were just learning about, they're less at risk for rate hikes due to commodity market spikes. We can go ahead and go to the next slide as well. Jim went over this a little while ago, but here it is just in a timeline that's a little bit more detailed. So as he mentioned, the plans were filed in September on behalf of both IOUs, or integrated utilities, and they have also filed detail and technical plans on behalf of both Mon Power and Potomac Edison, and also Appalachian and Wheeling Power. We'll be having some hearings coming up in May. Right now, the hearings are not public hearings, but I think that, we are interested in, trying to encourage the Public Service Commission to hold public hearings so that we can have a broader sense of participation from the people who are going to be feeling the impact of a given order that the commission issues. And then there's some time between May and June or July where we're expecting the commission itself to issue its final decision regarding the proposals that the utilities have landed on. And so that's generally the timeline. But in the meantime, there are ways that you can take action and become involved and elevate your voice to advocate for whatever might make the most sense to you. Say you're a solar owner and you're thinking about getting battery storage, maybe participating in a distributed power plant program is something that you're interested in doing in the future. And so you can submit a comment to the Public Service Commission. Say you don't have solar and you rent, but you want to take advantage of renewable energies and have lower costs, for your respective rates, then maybe you would be interested in advocating for more utility scale solar to be included, or more energy efficiency programs to be included in the utilities IRPs. And we're happy to help with those comments as well. If there's anything that you have questions on or that you want further information on to help embolden your comments, please reach out to us. We've got lots of info and are happy to help you get a comment to the Public Service Commission. We can also help with any kind of like earned media that you may be interested in doing. I think it's really important. Like, we're hollering at these folks all the time into the void and through all the ways that we can. And so it's always really impactful and important for, people who are also feeling this on a real day-to-day level, to raise their voices and tell folks in your communities and also by way of op-ed or letter to the editor, or maybe you attend a community meeting and just share that this process is going on and that folks can get involved if they would like to. It's also beneficial to talk to your local leadership, city council. You can talk to your county folks, commissioners, other government leaders, ask them to write letters of support. And also just to spread awareness that this process is going on right now, and it's really going to help shape the future of the way that West Virginia's energy mix flows forward over the next few years. So it's a good time to get involved. And for First Energy customers, we have this QR code here. It'll take you to our website. There's also a link there as well, which I think we're going to get in the chat if Corey hasn't already done that. He's usually pretty quick with that. But yeah, so please visit the website, and that's another way that you can submit a comment. Currently, the Public Service Commission is accepting comments via fax. So we have our comment kind of like platform. You can submit a comment and then we will turn it into a fax to please the Public Service Commission and their preferences. And we'll make sure that your comments get to them via fax. So I think that's everything. And maybe this is a good time for questions, and we're happy to chat more about anything that y'all would like to know more about. Thank you so much.
There was a question by Dan Miller in the chat earlier when Jim was talking. He said, Mon Power has a portion of energy supplied by solar. How do we determine how much of that is supplied to customers who are paying a premium for that power? Can they sell more than is available?
So currently, Mon Power is developing. They've got one facility at Fort Martin. They owned another one in Reevesville. Total that is projected is about 50 megawatts of generation capacity. They offer these as renewable energy credits to anyone who wants to subscribe. A quick Google search for Mon Power Solar will get you to that web page and allow you to sign up. The one caveat is that they charge a 4 cent per kilowatt hour premium for that solar electricity. So in addition to the 11.5, 12 cents per kilowatt hour that we currently pay, this would be more like 15 or 16 cents, depending on what your rate is. There are provisions whereby they have to be at least 85% subscribed before they can construct these facilities. And they also have to verify that they are not oversubscribing or selling more solar energy than they actually generate themselves. I have not followed up on their latest reports to the PSC to know what they're at, but I know that they have been taking subscriptions pretty regularly, and a number of those solar energy sites are currently operating. The advantage of Mon Power Solar voluntary renewable energy program is that you can take advantage of solar power without actually having to put solar panels on your house. The disadvantage is that it does cost a premium to do that. So that is one of the things you want to look at. Other questions?
Well, let me just add to that I just want to put a fine point on it for what Jim was saying. This is something that you have to sign up for. So the other customers who don't want to sign up aren't signed up for it.
Currently, no other questions, but if people have them, feel free to post in the chat or come off of mute and just ask. Dan said, "Thank you, Jim."
Okay, I gave it the 5 Mississippi rule. I will follow up. I've taken note of the folks that attended today. I will follow up with you and share this presentation so that you can look back at it and have all of those links that we shared, as well as the recording if you need us to like contextualize it. But definitely don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions at all. There's the WV Team Solar United Neighbors email right there. I would also say feel free to reach out to my email, which I left in the chat. That's Courtney@energyfreedomwv.org if you have any questions or want to get more involved on these issues. So appreciate you joining today. Thank you to all of the presenters and experts here today. And everybody have a great weekend ahead.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.